Hi, my name's Sallie Wilson and I'm the minister at Church on the Corner in Sheffield in the UK. I just want to share a short word with you. You know, last week we celebrated Easter and it was different because we're living in unprecedented times, but we were still able to enjoy and celebrate and share the time together with in different ways. And then throughout this week I've been thinking about the appearances of Jesus to his disciples after he was raised from the dead, and it's quite encouraging, the different things that Jesus has said. But one particular time that sticks in my mind and my memory is when Jesus shared breakfast on the beach with his disciples, and the character that I think of a lot there is Peter, because Peter at this time was really struggling. He was struggling with how he was feeling. He was struggling with the fact that he had denied Jesus 3 times when asked if he knew him. And Peter was struggling with a lot of guilt at this time. And I've been talking to a lot of people, and a lot of people are struggling with their emotions, and in particular guilt. And there's going to be a lot of remorse. But I'm encouraged really by the words of Jesus. You see, when Jesus ate breakfast with Peter on that beach by the Sea of Galilee, as he'd called out to him as he was back fishing, doing what was natural and normal to him, and Peter jumped out the boat and swam to Jesus. Jesus didn't rebuke him, and Jesus didn't correct him or tell him the things that he'd got wrong. Jesus encouraged him. And I think we can be encouraged today. We can be encouraged by the fact that Jesus had a conversation with Peter and said, "Peter, do you love me?" It gave Peter the opportunity to tell Jesus just how much he loved him. And we read this story in John's Gospel in chapter 21. And then Jesus replies to Peter and says, then feed my lambs. And then the breakfast carries on, and Jesus turns to Peter again and asks him the same question and says, "Peter, do you love me?" And Peter again says, "Lord, you know that I love you." And so Jesus looks at Peter and says, "Then tend my sheep." And then a third time, Jesus turns to Peter and asks the same question. You see, 3 times Peter had denied even knowing Jesus, and now 3 times Jesus gives Peter the opportunity of telling Jesus just how much he loves him. And Jesus says again, "Peter, do you love me?" And Peter says, "Yes, Lord, of course you know that I love you." And so Jesus turns to Peter and says, "Feed my sheep." There's a lot of emotions going around at this time of lockdown and COVID-19, and there might even be a lot of guilt in times to come, but be encouraged that there will come a time when this epidemic will be over and we'll be back to some type of normal. And even if you feel that you've got things wrong, or that you've failed people, or that even you've failed the Lord, as you turn to him and as you ask him to help you and ask him to restore you. Jesus may even ask you the same question, "Do you love me?" And we can say, "Yes, Lord, we love you." And Jesus doesn't condemn. And Jesus doesn't point the finger. In fact, the Bible tells us that there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ, and those who walk according to his purposes. So Jesus will turn to you, just as he turned to Peter. That'll give you the opportunity to be restored into the love of God, restored into the love of Jesus. And whatever you might feel right now, whatever you might be going through, whatever difficult time, Jesus will restore, Jesus will heal, and Jesus will be there with you right through to the end. So keep on with the Lord, keep on with whatever you're doing, keep on keeping safe. Because there will become a time when people will need to know the love of God, and you and I will be the ones to share it. You see, Jesus said to Peter, "Feed my lambs, tend my sheep, feed my sheep." Well, you know, there's going to come a time when Jesus is going to say the same to us. In fact, he's saying it right now. He's saying, "Do you love me?" And if our answer is yes, Lord, then he's saying, "Feed my lambs, feed my sheep, tend my sheep." In other words, look after those who need looking after. Be there for those that need you. Be a listening ear, be a shoulder to cry on. Be the mouthpiece of our God that tells the world that he loves them, that he's here for them, that he's not going anywhere.